And state if you will call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. We'll be calling EMT technician Kenneth Martin to the stand.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Kenneth Martin.
All right, state you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir. So you have identified yourself as Kenneth Martin. How are you currently employed?
Paramedic in the San Antonio Fire Department.
How long have you been a paramedic with the San Antonio Fire Department?
Paramedic, a little more than 9 years.
Okay. So is there a difference between being an EMT technician and a paramedic?
So we have EMT basics, which is everybody in the fire department. When we first come in, we go through EMT basic school. They're allowed certain amounts of skills from our medical director. And then we go through paramedic class, which is like a 7-month class of more training. Gets signed off by the medical director to practice more advanced skills.
Okay. And being a paramedic, you were a firefighter before this, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long were you a firefighter?
About 4 years.
Okay. So being a paramedic is an upgrade or a promotion from a regular firefighter, an engineer?
It's a little bit separate. When we come in as firefighters, some people come in as a paramedic already if they went through outside school. But everybody's going to come in as a private firefighter. And then when we promote to engineer, most of us probably get put through paramedic school and transferred into the EMS division.
Okay. And so in your 9 years as a paramedic, how many calls do you think that you've gotten?
We probably average 12, 15 calls a day. So a lot.
And the way your shift works is it's one 24-hour shift and then 3 days off, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many calls have you received where it turned out that the complainant or the person that was harmed was severely injured?
A lot.
Well, let me ask you another question. How many severe injury accidents or fatality accidents have you worked on?
Our accidents?
Yes, sir.
Those are probably a little more rare. We don't see fatal ones too often. Still more than 20 off the top of my head.
Okay.
Just roughly guessing.
So if you were dispatched to one on October 13th, going on October 14th, 2023, you would have had experience with these kind of crashes beforehand.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you, were you dispatched to a call at Five Palms and Military on October 13th, 2023?
Yes.
Let me ask you, is your memory of that night perfect?
Oh, no.
Did you write a report that night?
Yes, I did.
Would a copy of a report help refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
This is Sir, I'm showing what's been labeled as State Exhibit D for identification purposes. Can you tell me what that is?
This is the patient care report.
That's a copy of the report that you wrote that night? Okay, so use this to refresh your memory. It's not in evidence. So if you come to a question that you don't know the answer to, feel free to look down, read your report, refresh your memory, but don't read directly from it as this is not in evidence. Good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, sir. From your knowledge, what was the nature of this call at Five Palms and Military on October 13th, 2023?
We were dispatched to a MVC, motor vehicle collision.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is the incident location, Military and Five Palms, is that located in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And this happened on October 13th, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. When you arrived on the scene, what did you observe?
When we got on scene, there was already a fire crew on scene. They had changed the call prior to our arrival to a traumatic cardiac arrest. When it doesn't change in the report, it doesn't change our dispatch information when that happens. So when we got there, the fire crew already had the patient outside of the vehicle when they were working on the patient. And that's really all I remember seeing as we rolled up.
Okay.
Did you see a person that was injured in one of the vehicles involved?
The only person I saw involved in the accident was the patient on the ground being worked on by fire.
Okay, and what was the name of this patient? If it'll help, should be at the very top of your report.
Remove the sticker. Can I remove the sticker?
I think it should be on the second page.
Jose Fernandez.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, when you got there, and by refreshing my memory from your report, did you observe the person in the vehicle, Jose Fernandez, to be restrained or unrestrained?
He wasn't in the vehicle when we got there, so I never observed him in the vehicle.
Oh, okay. How did you observe him?
On the ground with the fire crew.
Was the fire crew already working on him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you describe the injuries that were sustained by Jose Fernandez?
He had a depressed skull injury. Believe it was on the left side of his head. But it was above the left ear, I believe. That was the only major injury that we noticed.
Okay. Can you tell me what is angonal respirations?
Agonal respirations is when the person appears to be breathing. We also call it guppy breathing, but they are not ventilating sufficiently. They're not moving air through the lungs enough.
Let's go back real quick to what you're talking about. You said a depressed skull injury. What does that
It
mean?
means there was an indention in his head.
Okay. Is that usual or unusual?
That's
in car
unusual.
crash? Okay. Is that a traumatic injury?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to angonal breathing. Have you heard that before?
Agonal breathing?
Yes, angonal breathing.
Like heard the term, or
Heard it actually in real life.
I mean, I've seen it at many calls.
Okay. Let me pray for you what's been already admitted, state exhibit number 39. Did you hear that gurgling sound?
I'm not object to leading, Judge.
Sustained.
Sir, did you hear? Let's play it one more time. Tell me if you hear a sound.
I hear that sound. That's
Did you hear any kind of angular respirations that time?
so you wouldn't hear a true agonal respiration. It would look more like they were gulping for air.
Okay.
As far as I know.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Did you perform an examination of Jose Fernandez?
I examined him, yes. Probably in the back of the ambulance. I don't remember doing it on the ground.
Okay. Can you describe his condition in the back of the ambulance?
So in the back of the ambulance, he was completely unresponsive. He did have a pulse, and we were assisting respirations the entire time. That's really what he had the head injury. He was completely unresponsive, what we call GCS3. So no eye movement, no motor movement, no verbal response at all to anything.
So completely unresponsive, dead to the world.
Completely unresponsive.
Okay.
Can't use the word dead.
When you said absolutely, when you said that you had to assist his breathing, how did you do that?
Fire was using a BVM, so a mask, and they were bagging him. I believe they had stuck an airway device in his mouth, a little piece of plastic. We call it an OPA in the report, and that opens up the airway while they bag him. Later, I think during transport, I intubated the patient, and then we ventilated him through the endotracheal.
Okay. Without that breathing assistance, would he have been able to breathe on his own?
Fire reported that he was not breathing sufficiently on his own when they started the ventilations. And the fact that they were able to stick that device down his mouth meant that he no longer had a gag reflex, because he would have thrown up or attempted to vomit once they stuck that device in his mouth. Whatever they found, he wasn't breathing sufficiently for them. So they started assisting, and we just continued to keep everything.
So without that assistance, he would not have been able to breathe on his own?
He probably was not breathing on his own or not breathing sufficiently.
Okay. What is a priority 1 trauma alert?
Priority 1 trauma alert meets our trauma criteria. It's a critical patient that needs to go to a trauma center, either University Hospital or BAMC, depending on where we're located. We went to University with him because that was the closer hospital. The criteria he met, he was in a traumatic event, and he had multiple. With his GCS being 3, that automatically qualified him. He's needing active airway assistance, that automatically qualified him.
Okay. What kind of I may have asked this question already. What kind of life-saving measures did you perform on Jose Fernandez?
So we continued to ventilate the patient. We achieved a better airway. We got IV access on him, and we were able to push some fluids to him to try. He had a blood pressure when we got him in the ambulance, so he was not pulseless. So we gave him fluid to try to keep filling him up and keep his blood pressure up on the way to the hospital.
Okay. What was his pulse while you were transporting him?
His pulse stayed looking in the range between 60 and 100.
Okay.
Between
And what-
60 and what?
60 and 100.
And is that the range for a normal person?
That is the range for
Okay. Was Jose Fernandez still alive when you dropped him off at University Hospital?
Not a doctor, but I believe clinically he would be considered alive because he had a pulse, which means his heart was still beating.
He was completely unresponsive and needed assistance to breathe.
We were breathing completely for him at that time through the endotracheal.
Okay. Judge, we'll pass this witness.
Take notes. Mr. Martin, you have your report in front of you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said that when you arrived on scene, fire had already preceded you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you arrive on scene, it's important for you to gather information in order to best medically assist the patient, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you do that?
Correct. So the way it works, there's 2 of us. So one of us is driving and one of us is, we call them the doctor. And so we're all gathering information from what we see and what we're talking to each other's crews. But my partner, who had the computer, was compiling the initial part of the report, is gathering more of the information from everybody, at least as far as like demographics and maybe getting a quick look at what happened.
Okay. But you only compile one report as a team,
That is correct.
and you've reviewed that, and that's what you have in front of you.
That's correct.
Okay. But all of that information is necessary for you to perform the best medical care for the patient.
Probably the more information we have, the better.
Okay. And in fact, in your report, you list that the patient Jose Fernandez was an unrestrained driver of the motor vehicle, correct?
I did put that in the.
Okay. You actually, I think your exact quote when you testified was to the prosecutor, you can't use the word dead, right? He was actually still alive at the time, correct?
As far as I know, again, not a doctor, I believe you're not dead until you have no heartbeat and no brain activity.
Okay. And so this is not something you would classify as dead on arrival.
Oh no, because he had a pulse, we wouldn't classify him as dead.
Okay. And would it actually surprise you to learn that he lived for approximately 9 days after the incident?
Maybe a little, but his vitals, when I look at the report, his final vitals upon arrival were decent. other than the fact that he was completely unresponsive and that we had to breathe for him.
Okay. And in fact, things happen all the time in the medical world, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
People respond differently to injuries. There's no absolute that every single person with these same injuries would have passed from these injuries, correct?
I don't know because I can't see what happened to his head.
Okay. Fair, but people recover from serious accidents all the time.
Judge, I'm gonna object to that. That's been asked and answered by defense counsel already. It's a cumulative question.
All right, that'll be overruled.
You can answer. People survive from serious accidents like this all the time.
People survive from serious accidents, yes.
Yeah, I'll pass the witness.
Any further questions?
No further questions, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excused by the state.
Excuse from defense.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone while this case is pending. All right, thank you. If you'll just leave that there. As a matter of fact, if you can, Porter, thank you. All right, state, call your next witness.
Judge will be calling Dr. Nathan Hendrickson.
All right, there's a square microphone up there. That's, if you'll put that somewhere near your lapel, it's for the court reporter to hear. All right, if you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Nathan Hendrickson.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
Doing all right, my friend. So you already stated your name. Sir, what is your current profession?
I'm a doctor, a physician.
Okay. How long have you been a doctor, sir?
I graduated medical school in May of 23, so 3 years.
Have you received any kind of medical specialization or certification?
Yes, I'm a medical doctor. I have finished 1 year of general surgery and then my third year of 6 years of what's called interventional radiology.
Okay. How many hospitals have you worked at?
I work at university and then any of the University of Texas San Antonio hospitals, so the UT system as well.
Okay. And how long did you say you've been a doctor for?
I'm in my third year of residency, so we're coming up on 3 years.
Okay. So this is going to be an estimation, but how many patients do you think that you've treated or assisted in your 3 years?
Well, as a radiology resident in the last 2 years, we read 300 to 500 exams a week. So that's not face-to-face patients. And then the year of general surgery, oh man, I don't know, 300 to 600, easy.
I believe the term is, have you been board certified to be a medical doctor?
Yes, yeah. Or well, I'm not board certified in my specialty, but I've graduated from medical school, and so board certification comes after you are in your specialty. So,
Okay, thank you.
but I have my medical license from the state of Texas.
Okay, so you are a licensed doctor in the state of Texas.
Yes,
Okay. Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
Oh, approach the judge or approach the witness?
Approach the judge.
Okay.
Oh.
Stay.
My fault.
Oh,
Oh, no problem. All right, everyone, please be seated. And state, outside the presence of the jury, the defense is requesting a hearing on the witness's expertise. What field are you offering him as an expert?
Judge, we would offer him as an expert in medical science.
All right, defense.
thank you, Judge. Dr. Hendrickson, I want to apologize in advance for any mispronunciation of any medical terms.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not saying something right, if you could please correct me.
Sure.
You said, right, currently you're at year 3 of your residency?
3 of 6, yep.
Okay. And so back in October of 2023, can you tell me what level of your medical
Yeah, I
profession?
had just started residency July 1st of that year. But with that being said, when we're that fresh out of medical school, we work really closely with all of the senior attendings. So yeah, I think my staff for this specific case was Dr. Nicholson, Susanna Nicholson.
Okay.
But yeah, I had just graduated in July 1st.
So, would you say that you were still in training and that Dr. Nicholson is supervising you?
Yeah, and that's true for the entire residency through the 6 years.
And I know you said radiology. Is that something that you started 3 years ago or currently?
The path to radiology is kind of convoluted. You have to do either a year of medicine or surgery first, and
Okay.
then you have to do 4 years of radiology. My subspecialty is interventional radiology, so I'll do 1 year of general surgery, which I did, 4 years of diagnostic radiology, and then 2 years of interventional radiology. I think that equals 6. So 1 year of general surgery, 3 years of diagnostic, and 2 years of interventional radiology. So total of 6.
Okay. So at the time you hadn't done any diagnostic?
Correct.
And then when you say general surgery, is that in the emergency room?
No, general surgery is working with all the surgical teams in the hospital. So I rotated through like cardiothoracic surgery, trauma surgery. Think of all my rotations that year. Transplant surgery, bariatric surgery. So it's all the surgical specialties, not an emergency room. Well,
Right.
they have a trauma bay in the emergency room, but it's not necessarily the emergency room. That
Okay.
makes sense.
So you've done a little bit of everything.
That year is 12 months of rotating through everything.
So I guess so since July of 2023 to October, can you tell us what you did in those 3 months?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, my first month was on cardiothoracic surgery ICU. So I worked in the cardiothoracic surgery ICU. The next month was, I believe, the trauma ICU. So I had spent a month on trauma, and then I went to transplant ICU, and then I went back to trauma ICU. That's just from memory. I'm not 100% sure, but those I do remember my first 4 months of my intern year, the first year of residency, what we call intern year, was all ICU.
And during that time, are you under the same Dr. Nicholson?
Depends on the staff of the day. Yeah.
Okay.
So each rotation has different faculty. Some faculty are on Sundays, others are not. Yeah. I believe, for example, in this case, the admitting provider was Dr. Stewart, and then, day.
Okay. And at this time, or until current time, 2026, have you been published in any medical field or any?
Since then, I've done medical posters. I haven't published in any medical journals, but I'm actively doing research and have drafts for journals.
And at the time, October 2023, have you done any at that time?
Not during residency. I had done, I'm a published author from my undergraduate at BYU, where I studied public health.
Okay.
I'm published in a journal. But during that time in residency, I was not publishing.
Yeah. Can you explain, because I assume you did 4 years of undergrad?
Yeah, 5 actually with a minor, but yes.
Okay, 5 years of undergrad and then, well, let's ask this. What degree did you get in undergrad?
My degree is a doctor of osteopathic medicine. So there's 2 types of medical schools in the United States, DO and MD is what they graduate with. And I graduated from UIW here in town.
So at this point in 2023, October, I guess what level of schooling are you in? And then are you in medical school?
Graduated from medical school, so I was a medical doctor already. I was in my first year of residency, so I had done 5 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, and then was beginning my intern year as a medical doctor in training for my residency, if that makes sense.
That's it from defense, Your Honor, or defense precedents.
All right. So is there a challenge?
Yes, Judge, defense will challenge. He said he was in his intern year of 2023. He'd been he'd been under a supervisor for 3 months. So I don't think he rises to the level of an expert yet.
And Judge, we would argue that with his undergraduate education, as well as the numerous rotations that he's already testified to, he is currently an expert in that he has scientific, technical, and specialized knowledge that would help the jury to determine a finding of fact. I think he's more than qualified to show that he's an expert in medical science.
All right, so you all are saying he's an expert in medical science, but specifically, what do you mean when you say medical science? No one has told the court specifically what he will be testifying to.
Judge, basically what he will be testifying to is he was one of the treating doctors for Jose Fernandez. He was there when Jose Fernandez passed. He diagnosed Jose Fernandez and his injuries. And I believe that with his abundant expertise and education, he will be able to testify truthfully and extrapolate more on that so that the jury can find an approximate issue or a good issue of fact.
So are you offering him as an expert as it relates to the treatment that was given to the complainant?
Yes, Judge, as an expert to the treatment and the diagnosis of Jose Fernandez, his patient.
All right. So is there objection?
As to the broad medical science, yes, Judge, but as to Mr. Fernandez's treatment, no, Judge.
All right, so you're only offering his testimony for the treatment of the complainant and his diagnosis of the complainant?
Yes, for his treatment and diagnosis of the complaining witness, Jose Fernandez.
All right, and you have no objections?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, then let's bring the jury in.
Oh, no.
Yes, we're
For the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, and state you may proceed.
All right, thank you. Dr. Hendrickson, were you treating a patient named Jose Fernandez on around October 13th, October 14th, 2023?
I don't remember those dates. I do remember the end of life care that I think it was the October 20th, 21st, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know if I was a part of the team that helped admit him, but I was taking care of him towards the end.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, is it common to have medical records created when a patient comes into the hospital?
Yes. extremely.
Did you contribute to these medical records?
I did, especially toward the end of his life, especially, yes.
Of course.
I was the author of his death note.
Okay. And I was gonna ask you, is your memory of every single detail of this patient's care from 2 years ago perfect?
No, absolutely.
Would a copy of your records help refresh your memory?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. They're a little voluminous, but I'm gonna show you what's labeled stage 0 and number 3 for identification purposes. Would you use this to answer any questions?
Thank you.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Judge, may I proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Hendrickson, have you had a chance, I know it's voluminous, but have you had a chance to review the medical records?
Yeah, and I was able to read through some of my notes.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. What injuries did Jose Fernandez have?
He had multiple brain bleeds, several different types. He had, it was a long list. I don't know if it's worth it to read all of the radiology reports, but he had internal injuries in his chest and abdomen. And then the most concerning injuries were his brain bleeds that he had, that he went to surgery with neurosurgery.
Okay,
He went after arriving at the hospital.
and these kind of injuries, are they synonymous with someone who's been in a vehicle crash?
It can happen from all kinds of trauma.
Okay,
Usually he had what's called a grade 3 DAI, which is typically a trauma of high impact or velocity or high grade of trauma.
okay.
Diffuse axonal injury is what grade 3 diffuse axonal injury is what he had.
When you began treating Mr. Fernandez, was he conscious?
No,
Was he responsive?
not,
When you were diagnosing his injuries, was he recovering from those injuries?
no.
What would you, in your opinion, what would be Jose Fernandez's medical state when you saw him at the hospital?
In medicine, we have what's called a Glasgow coma score, which kind of tells you how lucid someone is. Everyone gets a 3 dead or alive, and he was 3 or 4 at all times.
Okay, and what would 3 or 4 be, like for the layman?
A 3 is someone who doesn't move, doesn't talk, doesn't open up their eyes. And that's what he was the whole time I had. And when he was in my care, he was a 3. So non-responsive, not opening eyes, not breathing.
Was there any hope of recovery from his injuries?
It's hard to predict. Certain brain injuries, you don't know how they're going to manifest or if they're going to get worse or better until you're much farther down the road. But like I said, the prognosis for him was poor, and multiple subspecialties were consulted, and neurosurgery and neurocritical care weighed in, and they all felt that his prognosis was poor.
Okay. To your knowledge, did anything occur between the collision and your time with Mr. Fernandez that would have made his injuries or his condition worse?
Not that I'm aware of.
To your knowledge, did anything occur at the hospital that would have made Mr. Fernandez's injury or condition worse?
I don't believe so. Every surgical procedure has risks. In a patient who's in a critical state as his, there's always going to be risks of complications. So it's hard to tell if, I mean, he would have gotten worse without those surgeries, but to know if certain surgeries also complicated the situation is hard to say.
Okay. To your knowledge, when was the decision made to quote, make the decision to withdraw medical care?
From what I can remember and read in my notes, the patient started being what we call hemodynamically unstable. So his blood pressure went down and his heart rate went up, and it's kind of a sign that things are going south. And so at that time, after the family had consulted with all of the consulting parties and the specialists, they felt that it was best to make him what we call DNR, which is do not resuscitate. And that's when they made him what we call comfort care only. So
Excuse me, if you could spell the medical term for the court reporter.
no problem. DNR.
No, 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 not
resuscitate.
DNR, the first word.
What did I say? I'm so sorry.
unstable.
Which term was it?
Cindy?
Homodynamically unstable.
Sorry.
I-
Hemodynamically
Hemo,
unstable.
okay.
Just means his blood pressure and.
No, 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 if you can spell it for the court reporter.
Yeah, sorry, let me think. HEMODYNAMIKALLY.
All right,
Dynamic.
and thank you. And just whenever you're speaking, if there's some medical terms, if you just make sure it's spelled for the court
Yes,
reporter.
ma'am.
All right, thank you. You may continue.
And speaking of being hemodynamically unstable, what would be something that would cause that?
Again, it's something that's what we would call non-specific. You can get that way from sepsis, from infectious causes. You can get that way from trauma. It's a way of your body reacting and trying to compensate for what's going on. And hemodynamic instability, most commonly in a trauma patient, is from bleeding.
Okay. And when you testified earlier that that was an indicator that things were going south, does that mean that Jose Fernandez was dying?
You could say that, yeah.
To your knowledge, who made the decision to withdraw medical care?
The family. Jose Fernandez.
Okay. And did the defendant, I'm sorry, did Jose Fernandez ultimately pass on due to the withdrawal of medical care?
He did.
What time was that and what date?
I don't remember the time, but I believe the date, I think it was the 22nd of October. Correct. Sorry, this note, this is extensive. Sorry, just looking for the specific note.
Of course, take your time and refresh your memory. Tell me when you're ready to testify.
October 22nd, 2023.
Were you there at the time of death?
Yes,
Did you call the time and date of death?
I did.
Thank you, doctor. Judge, we'll pass the witness.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Hendrickson, these medical records that you were using to refresh your memory, they're done in the regular course of business?
In the regular course of business.
Course of business, meaning this is something that's done standard every time you get a patient in?
Depends on the type of note and the documentation.
Right.
We have progress notes that are daily. We have procedure notes that are when we do a procedure, and then for this patient, the death notes when they're necessary. Yeah.
Your Honor, state would move to, or sorry, defense. Defense would move to offer Defense Exhibit 5, which is the state's medical records that Dr. Hendrickson is using to refresh his memory.
And Judge, with all due respect to defense counsel, I don't believe that the proper predicate has been laid just yet in regarding remaining records.
All right, if you'll lay the foundation.
Your Honor, they're self-authenticating because the business record.
No, I mean, if you'll lay the foundation, mark the exhibit.
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Sure.
I'm positive. Your Honor, would you mind if I stood by the witness while I went over the medical
No,
record?
that's fine.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Okay. And permission to publish, read from the medical records, Your Honor.
Well.
Judge, I don't believe it's been
Could
admitted
I,
yet.
could I have parties approach, please?
Of course.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Hendrickson, I'm showing you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit number 5. Do you recognize this?
Honestly, this format is really convoluted compared to like our electronic medical record. I recognize some of the portions of it, and again, in a medical record like this, there's so many people contributing to it, and so there's a lot in this record that I never seen before, just because I wasn't.
But your notes are in this medical record.
I believe so. I mean, I just have to look through 3,000 pages.
Right.
I haven't found
Excuse me, do you need an opportunity to review that?
this document.
Yes.
Um,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have you step outside while he reviews that, and then I'll bring you all back in. And I'll bring you all back in 15 minutes. Remember my previous instructions. Thank you. Oh, no problem. All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Hendrickson, can you tell us why a lab screening is done on an individual that comes into the hospital?
Yeah, typically in the trauma bay, when patients are critical trauma, they just do a lab screening to give background to treat the whole patient. Yeah.
And that background to treat the patient, why is that important?
Certain substances can cause changes in blood pressure and pulse. And so to know that there are certain medications such as opioids that you need to reverse, and we have those reversing medications. So to know if someone's taking that, just in cases when we need to reverse it.
Okay. So in this situation where we have a patient who does have positive for cocaine and marijuana, is that something you would take into consideration when providing treatment?
Definitely something that we look at and make sure that it's not causing any abnormalities. Yes, so at least with marijuana, not so much. There's usually not very symptomatic. Cocaine can cause things such as high blood pressure and high heart rate.
So you would say that is important for medical diagnosis and treatment?
To know about a positive toxicology report, yes.
Defense would pass the witness.
All right, State, do you have any questions with regards to the toxicology report?
Yes, Judge, very briefly. So, Doctor, what time was the blood draw or the drug screening done in regards to alcohol, cannabinoids, and cocaine?
5:22 a.m. on the 14th.
And do you know, can you tell approximately, like, would it surprise you that this incident happened at 11:47 that evening
Of the 14th,
of the 13th?
the night before.
Yes.
Your question, which incident,
That the collision that happened occurred at 11:47 p.m. earlier that morning.
as far as timeline, I think typically getting a toxicology report will happen when the patient is more stable. It's not necessarily like a first priority when they come into the trauma bay. But it would not surprise me that it was like a 6-hour, 7-hour delay between patient arriving and getting a toxicology.
And from your knowledge of medical science, alcohol synthesized things like that, would that amount of time affect the amount of alcohol that would show up in the drug screening?
It should. I mean, how long alcohol has been in your system and the half-life of alcohol or how long it exists should go down with time. So.
Okay. And so with the half-life of alcohol, you wouldn't be able to tell from a drug screening if a person was absorbing alcohol or expelling alcohol, if they were going up intoxication or coming down intoxication.
Not from just a one-time test.
Okay. So based on this result, there is no able for us to reliably tell what the amount of intoxication may or may not have been at 11:47 a.m. PM.
Correct. I can only speak to the amount of alcohol that was in his system when this test was done the next day at 5:22 a.m.
Yeah, any kind of question on that would be speculation.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Last witness, Judge.
Just a few questions, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Dr. Hendrickson, if someone is not actively ingesting alcohol or drugs, would the level of ethanol go up?
Should not.
And the drugs?
Depends on the medication that we've given the patient.
Right.
But medications we give should not increase.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
Very quick.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, very quick redirect, Judge. Doctor, based on Jose Fernandez's injuries, can you tell me if the cocaine, alcohol, or other substances in his system contributed to his injuries?
I don't think having them in his system would help him recover from his injuries by any
Okay.
means. But I don't think they contributed to his traumatic injuries
Okay.
in the context of making those injuries happen, if that makes sense.
Can alcohol in the person's system help their condition?
No. For the most part, unless in a trauma, some people with alcohol in their system can have better outcomes than those without alcohol.
So alcohol can help someone recover from trauma.
Alcohol can help you relax in the event of trauma when the trauma happens. I don't think alcohol helps you recover, if that makes sense.
All right, anything else?
Just a few more quick questions, Judge.
Okay.
Doctor, what are your duties at where are you at University Hospital, right? What are your duties?
Right now, or when I receive this patient?
Right, or when you receive this patient and right now?
Depends on the rotation I'm on again, but patient care, I guess I don't know how in depth you want me to go. When I was with this patient, day-to-day bedside patient care.
Your Honor, I'm gonna say that this is outside the scope of this hearing. This hearing was,
Yes. Is this related to the marijuana or toxicology report?
No, Judge, I apologize. We'll pass the witness then.
All right, thank you.
just one question, Your Honor. Dr. Hendrickson, you don't administer cocaine in the treatment of an individual at the hospital, do you?
No, ma'am.
Or marijuana
No, ma'am.
or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
All right. So, based upon this witness's testimony, if the proper foundation is laid for the admissibility of the medical records, the court is going to allow the defense to ask questions regarding the toxicology report.
And Judge, if I may reiterate this, the state's motion in limine in regards to this, I believe the judge's ruling was that they would not be allowed to go into this unless they showed that it was a pertinent trait that contributed to the accidents. They have yet to show that. We've actually shown quite the opposite, that the driver of Unit 2, Jose Fernandez, was not driving erratically, was not swerving in his lane. He parked properly before going through the intersection, and then only proceeded through when he had the green lights. They have
But
not. to
didn't
this
the
point-
witness testify that they considered the drugs in the system, and then that has to be considered when completing treatment?
That's to be considered for his treatment, but the judge's ruling was whether this was a pertinent trait to the accident. And here, I'm sorry. Thank you. At the time, the doctor said that he cannot be able to say what the levels of cannabis or cocaine or alcohol were at the time of the accident, which means that this is not, they have not proven what they need to prove in order to get this in per the judge's ruling on state's motion in limine number 3. And because they've shown no proof that the alcohol, that the cannabis, or that the cocaine was a contributing or pertinent trait under 404 to the accident, it is not relevant. We are just besmirching a dead man who cannot come back here and rebut this.
But in the indictment, isn't part of your indictment that you're saying that the defendant recklessly caused the death of the individual?
Yes, just the defendant recklessly caused the death. But
Right.
anything else goes towards the deceased who is not able to come back and testify, and it doesn't go towards any kind of defense that the defense can bring up. No affirmative defense, nothing like that. It's completely irrelevant. And we've already shown through our witnesses that he was not, Jose was not swerving. He was not driving erratically. He was driving properly as everyone else should. They have yet to meet the burden that the judge asked them to meet with before they could make this relevant. So because of that, Judge, I again urge the state's motion in limine number 3 about this.
Your Honor, I would bring up 2 points. First of all, every officer so far, there's been 2 that have testified, have said there have been no drugs or alcohol However, we did see the alcohol can. And as for the drugs, they put no on the report, but however, it's rebuttal evidence when we find out that in the lab report, he did have drugs in his system. Additionally, they're going, and you just read it, Your Honor, what they're charging him with is causing the death of Jose Fernandez, which he did get treatment that before his death. And as part of that treatment, directly related to that, as Dr. Hendrickson said, is the results of those lab reports, because that allowed them to know what they can and cannot do when they had to look at those levels.
And Judge, that is a misstatement of the prior officers. We have already broached the topic of alcohol in the car. It's in the defense or in the state's own pictures. We pointed out the open container. We talked about there being alcohol in the vehicle. We have broached this topic. So to say that we haven't done so is inaccurate. And also there were multiple people in the vehicle. There was also multiple people in unit 2, and there's been no testimony by either ourselves or by defense that has been elicited to put that beer can, that open container, into Jose Fernandez's hand. Everything else is just speculation. And again, Judge,
Are you saying that nobody has put a beer container in the complainant's hands?
there you go. It's not necessarily that nobody can put it in his hands, but nobody has testified that it was cold to the touch. Nobody has testified at this point that they smelled the odor of intoxicants or anything else on Jose Fernandez's breath. Or in the vehicle. It has just been an open container that has been found in a vehicle. And again, Judge, it was put onto the defense that they have to prove that this is relevant before they get into it.
Right, the
They have
court
not.
is finding that it's relevant. And if they lay the foundation, then it, with regards to the medical records, then it will come in. If they don't lay the foundation, then it's not coming in.
Right. Thank you, Judge.
Right, thank you. Let's
We would
bring,
ask that it's prejudicial than probative, so we object on those grounds as well.
right, the court is doing a balancing test. The court is going to find that it's more probative than prejudicial. Let's bring the jurors in.
All rise for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Defense is your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, may I press the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Hendrickson, I'm showing you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 5, which pulled up on your screen here. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Okay, and what is this that you're looking at?
This note in specific is what we call as history and physical, so his initial admission note with patients. Complete history.
And can you tell me what name we see here at the top of the medical records?
Jose Fernandez,
Okay, and can you tell me his date of birth?
January 20th, 19.
Thank you, Judge.
And so, Dr. Hendrickson, you recognize these medical records?
I do,
Okay, and to your knowledge, have they been altered or changed in any way?
not to my knowledge.
Your Honor, defense would move to offer Defendant's Exhibit 5 into record, pending any objection from defense.
And Judge, I'm gonna object. The predicate has not been laid yet.
All right, with regards to the predicate being laid, that will be sustained.
Your Honor, again, I would argue that the business record affidavit has been filed by the state. It was made to us 14 days prior to trial.
Could I have parties approach? Okay, everyone, just give us 5 minutes. Oh, no, remain. We just have to have the clerk come out. All right, defense, you may proceed.
Dr. Hendrickson, for this case and for those medical records, are you the custodian of record, meaning that you are one of the people that keeps the records and have access to those records?
I have access to his records and I have access to the electronic medical record system, if that answers your question. And I can put notes in and edit records. Yeah.
Right. And previously, you testified that they're kept in the normal course of business when a patient does come to the hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
And are they made at the time of the incident or very closely to the incident when you're providing care?
Yes. Right at the time or shortly thereafter.
And from looking, I think you kind of, you have it in front of you.
but looking at it, this is related to the treatment and care of Jose Fernandez in October of 2023.
Correct.
Your Honor, defense would move to offer Defense Exhibit 5 into evidence.
Judge, may I take the witness on voir dire for a brief moment?
Yes.
Okay. Doctor, you said you have access to these records. Is it within your duties to keep these records? Like, are you in charge of filing, categorizing, anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're not a custodian of records in that you're not like a librarian of the records.
Correct. I have access to what is known as EPIC, which is our electronic medical system
Mhm.
record. And I can enter in my notes and see lab results and see imaging and all those things.
Okay, but you're not in charge of making sure that this filing system is operational. You're not in charge of making sure that the proper records go to the proper place, to the proper patient. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so that anything like that would be outside of your duties.
Probably be IT or some hospital administration.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Judge, we would argue that the predicate has not been met. This is not a custodian of records or a qualified witness that can authenticate these as business records. Because of that, I again object that the proper predicate has not been laid by the defense.
All right, objection is overruled. Defense exhibit number 5 is admitted.
Permission to approach the witness.
Granted.
Thank you, Judge. And permission to publish this to the jury, Your Honor. Well, when I say publish, read too.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. Dr. Hendrickson, what's the purpose of doing a lab before someone gets the treatment of the doctors in the emergency care?
We use the whole patient picture to treat what's going on. So, what we see with our eyes can sometimes be different than lab values.
And if someone were to come back positive for a substance, what does that tell you, or what does that tell you about treatment you can or cannot provide?
Definitely depends on the substance, and it depends on the clinical context as to how they're presenting. And so in certain situations, certain substances need to be, you can use medicines to reverse the substance effect. Anyway, depends on the substance.
And so in this case, was a lab done?
Yeah, lots of labs done.
Lots of labs done, okay. But what about that initial lab, I guess urology, to test for if someone had substances in their system?
Yeah, I think you're referring to the toxicology, the
Toxicology.
urine toxic screen. Yes, he had that, which is pretty typical for all of our trauma patients.
And again, what's the significance of having that toxicology done?
It helps guide us in our treatment. Not every case needs to be addressed, but it helps us know a little bit about the history of that patient that we know nothing about.
And so in this case, can you tell us what was tested for in the toxicology?
Yeah, for this patient, he had benzodiazepines tested for, cocaine tested for, amphetamines tested for, cannabis tested for, opiates tested for, barbiturates, and PCP.
And what did he test positive for?
And alcohol, sorry. He tested positive, or had an elevated level of alcohol and cocaine he was positive for, and cannabis.
Okay. And cannabis is another word for what?
Marijuana,
So he tested positive for those.
those two, correct.
And then in regards to the alcohol,
Mhm.
we see something here called components. It says alcohol, ethanol, value 89, reference range less than 3 mg-DL. What does that mean? The mg or the less than 3?
The mg-DL is, I believe it's milligrams per deciliter. It's just a concentration. Means that a typical value for a normal person should be less than 3.
Okay. And then what was his value?
This was 89.
Okay. So typical person should be at less than 3, and his was at 89.
Correct.
Okay. And 89, would you call that a high number or a low number?
I would qualify it as typically someone with an alcohol of 89 is clinically impaired.
And so in layman terms, the clinically impaired.
You can tell that they've been drinking.
And to your knowledge, tell that they've been drinking, do you mean that the normal use of faculties would be affected by that?
Somewhat inhibited, yes.
Okay. And reaction time?
Typically for alcohol, that's true, yes.
And in your treatment of Jose Fernandez, did you find that he had anything else medically wrong with him?
Yeah, as far as medical history, he didn't have any, but when he was scanned for his trauma in the CAT scan, they found a renal mass, a mass on his kidney. And with that mass, they found a lesion in his bone. So that typically kidney cancers you diagnose with biopsy, but in radiology, you can say things are concerning for a mass that's cancer and metastatic disease, and that would be the case with this patient.
Do you have concerns for cancer in this patient?
After his CT scan, correct, yeah.
And in the medical records, when you say that it was metastasized, what do you mean by that?
Metastatic means that it's cancer that's gone from the organ it started in to something else, to another nearby organ. In this case, it was his bones.
So I guess in layman's terms, the cancer had spread.
Yes. If it, again, we diagnose cancer with biopsies. This would be what we call a suspicious mass for cancer that has had a metastasis.
And let's go back to the alcohol, because it was at a value of 89. From your knowledge and training, does that number go higher or lower as time passes?
It should normalize with time, so it should go closer to zero as an individual does not drink alcohol.
Okay. And the only way for it to go up is through taking in alcohol.
Correct.
Okay. So for example, if someone has not drank in say 6 hours, we would expect that that number has gone down.
Correct. If I drink alcohol now in 6 hours, it should be lower.
And the medical history that's given to you, that's information received from a patient?
In this case, when patients aren't communicative, it's usually from family.
And we stated already, cocaine, marijuana, and alcohol are all things that he had in that system. Does that aid in healing?
Typically, no.
State pass the witness, Your Honor.
State.
Defense pass the witness.
Okay.
Sorry, I used to be a prosecutor.
Brief redirect, Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Okay. Doctor, let me ask you, looking at defense exhibit, when was the drug screening done for Mr. Fernandez?
October 14th at 5:20.
Okay, so if the collision happened at 11:47 PM that night, that means there would have been a difference of about hours, more or less? Okay. I'm not trying to degrade you or anything, but is it possible to say what the blood alcohol content of Jose Fernandez was at the time of the accident?
Not without a lab result.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Let's go back through it again. What were the injuries that Jose Fernandez sustained?
This is a very long list. The most notable injuries were his intracranial bleeding, his bleeding in his brain. But he had multiple fractures. Would you like me to read the whole injury list?
If you don't mind, it's already in evidence.
The note that had it, so we can. Doesn't help. There's a nurse with the last name, my last name.
maybe Doctor, for the expeditiousness of time,
Yes.
let's just go over like the quick and dirty of it. What
Yeah.
were the injuries that you observed?
So he had multiple brain bleeds that led him to need a surgery with neurosurgery.
Mhm.
He had some pulmonary contusions, which are basically bruises on your lungs. He had broken pelvis bone that was broken. He had, if I believe correctly, a splenic laceration, so a cut on his spleen. Those are the major ones. And like I said, the most concerning ones were the multiple bleeds in his brain.
Okay. Would cocaine, alcohol, or cannabis ingestion cause those kind of injuries?
In this patient, with all of his symptoms, no, it wouldn't be the cause for everything that he had.
Okay. Did cocaine, alcohol, or cannabis ingestion cause him to be unresponsive?
No,
Did I'm sorry, the renal mass you were talking about that spread to his bones,
Objection, Judge,
With-
leading.
Sustained.
would the renal mass have caused these kind of injuries to his brain and to his lungs?
Judge, objection, leading.
Sustained.
Would the renal mass, what kind of injuries would the renal mass have caused in this case?
typically a metastatic cancer patient would not have the level of bleeding that this patient had in his brain, or would not cause any of the traumatic fractures or splenic
So this-
lacerations that he had.
So is it fair to say, in your opinion, that the renal mass, that the cocaine, alcohol, or cannabis ingestion did not contribute to these injuries that Jose Fernandez sustained?
I can't speak to whether they led up to the injuries. I can speak to that they did not cause the injuries directly as far as the traumatic event. This patient's what we call a polytrauma. So he had lots of injuries from the trauma.
Okay. Let me ask you, in regards to alcohol in someone's system, can that actually help someone in regards to when trauma happens?
In my experience, when I've taken care of patients who were under the influence and those who were not, those who are under the influence in the moment of trauma, typically it can be seen that they don't have such terrible injuries because they're relaxed during the trauma, if that makes sense. So the alcohol system can make you relaxed and not make you tense up during a trauma.
Okay. Let's go to, are you aware what the legal definition of intoxication is? Or the,
0.8 or
exactly. So you're aware that the legal definition of intoxication is 0.08 blood alcohol content, right?
yes,
Okay. When you were talking in the medical records about the alcohol content being an 8.9, would that translate to 0.089?
correct,
Okay, so he was just over the legal limit.
correct.
Okay. Thank you so much, doctor. Okay, we'll pass the witness.
Just briefly, Your Honor. Dr. Hendrickson, earlier you testified that I guess it's hard to predict the trajectory in terms of healing of brain injuries. Is that a fair statement?
That's very
So say, for example, if you have a healthy 30-year-old, exercise regularly, no drug use, would they have a good chance of healing?
I would say it's a case by case basis, and depending on how extensive the injuries are. I have definitely taken care of traumatic brain patients who are young who did not appear to be recovering. But again, these cases they're often in facilities for 5-10 years. So
And earlier you said, in treating trauma patients, when they have alcohol, sometimes their injuries aren't as bad because they're relaxed. But what about if they have multiple substances like cocaine and marijuana in their system?
I can't speak to that.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Two brief questions, Judge. Doctor, did the cocaine, alcohol, cannabis, or the renal mass cause the injuries that you saw in Jose Fernandez?
Judge, I'm going to object. It's been asked and answered already.
All right, that'll be overruled.
You can answer the question, doctor.
Okay. Like I said, his injuries were typical for a traumatic injury. It would be very atypical, and I've never seen injuries as extensive caused by something like cancer.
Were the cocaine, alcohol, or cannabis ingestion or the renal mass the cause of death for Jose Fernandez?
In my opinion, no.
Thank you. We'll pass the witness, Judge.
Any further questions?
Yes, briefly, Judge. But they certainly didn't aid in his treatment and recovery.
I would agree with that.
And did you do the autopsy?
I did not.
Okay, so you wouldn't, I guess other than looking at the records, you personally wouldn't have knowledge of the cause of death.
Correct. I only have the records that were documented on his arrival and then every day taking care of him after that.
Defense pass the witness, Your Honor.
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state, Judge.
Excused by defense, Judge.
All right, could I have parties approach just briefly? Make sure you all have it before the witness leaves. Okay. All right, thank you. The rule has been invoked. What that means, you can't discuss your testimony with anyone during the pendency of this trial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You are excused.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, state, call your next witness.
Judge, the state calls Detective Armstrong to the stand.
You didn't hear me. Told the doctor, thank you, but you didn't hear me. All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. There's a square gray microphone up there. It's for the court reporter. You can put that on. It's so that she'll be able to hear you. All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
Brad Armstrong.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir. Can you, I think you stated your name for the record. What is your current profession?
I work for the San Antonio Police Department. I'm a detective.
Okay, and how long have you been a detective for SAPD?
Detective since 2003, so almost 3 years.
Okay, detective, is that a promotion or a higher rank or?
Yes, it's a promotion.
Okay. So what unit were you currently assigned to on October 13th, 2023?
It's the traffic investigation detail.
Can you describe to us this detail?
The traffic investigation detail is a part of the homicide unit. They investigate major crashes involving serious bodily injury, death, serious, a few other ones as well.
Okay, can you go into what kind of training goes into being a TI or traffic investigation detective?
There's a lot of crash reconstruction, overall interviews, witnesses, stuff like that. Overall, it's basically just a lot of math, a lot of how to put together what you see in the scene. You also can use the vehicles as evidence, what you see at the scene, how they look. The vehicle itself has also equipment that we can test and see what the vehicle is doing.
Okay, so you're well versed in the mathematics behind traffic reconstruction, things like that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, how many fatality or serious traffic accidents have you investigated? In your career, yes, sir.
And career, like I said, before traffic investigation detail. I was on the traffic unit as well for 5 years. So many traffic investigations that I've been to, maybe not as technical as the traffic investigation detectives. Seen probably at least 1,000 or so traffic crashes, probably another 100 or so fatalities involved in that. On the traffic investigating detail, probably, well, we all go to them together, so we see them all, whether you're the primary or you're the assisting. So probably average about 100 a year overall. I'd probably say 200 during my time at TID.
Okay,
Traffic investigation is TID.
okay, so you say you're pretty well versed in your trade.
Yes.
Okay, Judge, can we approach?
Yes. Cindy, before I do this, while you stretch it, do you need a short break too? No, I'm okay. All right, good. Does anyone need a break before you question the witness?
I would like a break, Judge.
All right, so I'll let y'all do a short break, come back, we'll question. You all will question the witness, okay?
Thank you kindly.
All right, thank you.
She did look right at me to make sure I knew.
This one, crash reconstruction, crash analyst,
Okay, so crash reconstruction, crash analysis?
yes.
Okay. How many times have you testified as an expert already?
Say, 30. It's gonna take a little while because
3 or 30?
30,
3, okay. All right. How long have you been a certified peace officer in the state of Texas?
12 and a half.
Okay. And in that time, how many investigations have you been a part of?
Just like I said, it's a simple crash, is an investigation.
Or like in just general law enforcement officer duties?
Law enforcement officers, thousands upon thousands.
Okay. How many trainings have you gotten? Any in-service hours?
In service, we do 40 hours a year, so times 12. I should know the answer. 560.
It's okay. Have you ever taught any courses at the academy?
No, I'm not.
Okay. With TCOL, what level of peace officer are you? Are you intermediate, master?
Master.
So you are a master peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
And that's certified by TCOL.
That's correct.
What is TCOL?
It's basically our licensing ability, Texas Commission Law Enforcement, Certified Education, I believe, the double check on that.
Okay. Is it the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Officers standards?
Yes, that's what basically gives us our standards of what we can follow, how we follow.
Okay. And master peace officer, is that the highest rank that one can achieve?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you said you've been certified as an expert in crash analysis and reconstruction before.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. Walk us through what kind of math, what kind of measurements, what kind of reconstruct, or what kind of effort do you do in order to properly formulate an opinion? Like, what's your process?
So the first thing we do is we get there, talk to the handling officers, kind of get it rundown of what's going on, what they see at the scene, get a layout of the scene as we see it. When I do mine, I start with the vehicles first. I go to the vehicle and work my way backwards to see the damage, to see the roadway evidence, the markings, what's left by the car, debris, oil spills, stuff like that, tire marks. I use that, work my way backwards, identifying the marks that we can use as the tire marks that we can see, whether it be actual hard marks left by a lockup of the tire, or impinging, which is the tires left by the friction, or the marks left by the friction of the tire prior to it locking up. So all those kind of things we can see, we can use that as measurements. As far as the reconstruction part of it, use the math of that. So you can go just a basic one. You have the length of the tire marks, then you calculate that by. There's a formula. I don't have the formula sheets in front of me, but I had those back at work. Basics is the 30. It's kind of 30 DF distance, no force, the friction and coefficient. Use that to get an idea of speed. Then it goes into the rotation of vehicles, the markings you see on the ground. You measure how far those move, weights of vehicles, etc. Given that everything you can see on the scene. So if you can't see it on the scene, some of the stuff you're limited by, use everything you can use at the scene.
Okay. So when you're talking about the formula, the algorithm that you would do with this, is it basically the same variables that are plugged into this formula?
There are some variations. I would say overall there's probably about 40 different formulas you can use, given how the dynamics of the crash goes. Vehicles involved, the weight, if you know things that if you know a speed, you can use one formula. If you don't know speed, you can use another formula. Vehicle at rest, you can use one formula. There's vehicles head on, being hit from behind, being hit perpendicular, T-bone, so like that. Each one has a kind of a different formula.
Okay, so the different formulas based on different situations that you surmise.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know what an ACM is?
It's an airbag control module.
Okay.
All right, just one moment off the record. So defense, are you still going to challenge his expertise?
I just have a few questions, Judge.
Okay,
Okay. May I continue, Judge?
yes.
Thank you so much. My friend, what's an ACM module?
The airbag control module is a device inside the car. Usually people can't see it normally. It's hidden as far as inside the interior of the vehicle. What it does is measures the parameters of the vehicle. So if a vehicle is struck or it strikes something else, it's gonna basically send a sensor, send a signal telling the vehicle what to do. It's gonna tell it to lock up seatbelts, lock up deploy or basically kind of tell it to fire, tell the airbag to fire, then actually make it fire. It can also read items such as, the seatbelt was on, speed of the vehicle, accelerator, turning, whether steering input, just different variation. Each vehicle has a different set parameters in them. Certain vehicles have a whole bunch of them, or some. They have speed, RPMs, airbags, and all that kind of stuff. Some will go into, even turning a blinker, so you have a blinker on. It just depends on what manufacturer it is.
Okay. And this ACM data, is it like highly specialized and technical to interpret?
It is something you have to understand when we went to the training course to do it, to learn it, to understand it. We're certified in that, got certification in that as well. So you get that, you learn how to read it. So because you get it out first, there's a whole bunch of numbers and how to read it, how to know the limitations, what each vehicle has a limitation on, how to actually take that data and use it to what you see at the scene, because sometimes you can see the different movements of the vehicle, different hits, stuff like that.
So that kind of ACM interpretation training, is that standardized across the country?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been a part of that training?
I have.
Okay. And the crash reconstruction training, is that also standardized across the country?
That's correct.
Okay. Judge will pass the witness.
All right, sure.
Just
Depends.
briefly, Judge, and I may withdraw my objection, but I'm a little bit confused. Detective, you said you've been a certified peace officer for about 12 and a half years, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, then did I mishear you? Because I thought you said you became a detective in 2003.
13.
13. That
13.
makes way more
Okay,
sense.
it's actually 23.
I'm sorry.
I've only been 3 years.
2023. So you've been a detective for
Sorry, 23.
3 years. I thought you said 30 and then you'd only been a peace officer for 12. And I was like, hold on.
I'm ready for the retirement.
Okay, that wasn't adding up to me. Okay,
Just short of 3 years right now.
understood. Okay, that makes way more sense. Thank you. You talked about how in your crash reconstruction and crash analysis, in fact, I think your exact testimony was there a lot of math goes into it.
Yes.
Okay. Are you taught, as I was in high school and elementary school, that showing your work when doing math is extremely important?
That is correct.
Judge, we're getting outside the expertise of the witness. We're getting into credibility.
All right, that'll be sustained.
And Judge, I'm actually not getting into credibility.
Right, so this is what I want everybody to do. I want everyone to focus. Let's get to his expertise and whether or not he's an expert.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
all right, so if you'll ask your question.
that's fine, Judge. I have no more questions.
All right, is there going to be a challenge to his expertise?
No, Judge.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All right,
All right, everyone, please be seated. State it's your witness.
Thank you, Judge. May I proceed?
Yes.
All right. So, Detective, let me ask you, were you dispatched to a call on the intersection of 5 Points and Military on October 13th, 2023?
That is correct.
Okay. Did you do an investigation regarding that call?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let me ask you, did you create a offense reports? I'm sorry, an investigation report?
Yes, we created an investigative supplement.
Did you also create a crash report?
I did not create a crash report. What I can do is a supplement to it. The officer on scene will do the initial crash report. We will review it and add any pertinent information to it.
Okay, so let me ask you, this is 2 years ago, is your knowledge of every single detail of that night perfect in your memory?
Not, I won't say perfect, but I got a good
That's okay.
idea of what it is.
Would a copy of the report help refresh your memory for your testimony today?
Yes.
Okay. I just sent for record.
Yeah.
Yeah. One?
Yes.
Purpose of the record, Detective, I'm showing you, it's been labeled State Exhibit F and G. Can you tell me what those two documents are?
F is my investigative supplement and G is the crash report.
Okay, so these are only gun and thirties are in evidence. I would just ask that you not read from them. If you come to a question that you don't remember the answer to, feel free to read these reports, refresh your recollection, and basically don't read and testify from these as they're not in evidence that would be improper. So, understood? Thank you.
Right. Let us jump into it. Detective, what was the nature of the call that you got to that evening?
The nature of the call was a major accident, serious bodily injury, possible life-threatening injury.
Okay. And when you arrived at the scene, what did you observe?
I observed two vehicles in an intersection. Of course, police are there. They're maintaining the security of the scene. I think EMS had already departed by the time we got there with the driver of the one vehicle. They left the scene. So basically everything's cordoned, sectioned off, taped off so that nobody else can drive through the scene.
Okay. Detective, I'm going to show you what's already been labeled as State Exhibit 3 through 38.
Can you look through these photos and tell me if that was the scene you investigated that night?
Take your time.
All look at be of the scene that I went to investigate, yes.
Okay, perfect. Detective, how many of these major crash or collision investigations have you done over your career?
As far as the investigating or an officer,
Both.
both, so as throughout my career as a police officer, we also respond to scenes just like these. Overall, I've probably done about close to 1,000 or so. Some, they don't get reported the same way that it's just, you know, my friend vendor, you're showing up, you're exchanging information, you know, have a good day. Other ones, they're getting reported on a cross report such as this. So they meet a level of criteria to report that. So I'll say about on that, those, probably 300 to 400 of those, the type that are reported to crash or to tech stop. And in that enumerable, probably about 100 or so at least. I say the exact numbers of fatalities that are involved as well.
When you investigate a major collision or a fatality crash, what's your process? How do you start?
I get to the scene and I contact the handling officer there, kind of get the details of what he's seen, heard, what's going on at the scene, what am I looking at? Then I start with the vehicle itself. I look at the vehicles, kind of see the damage to kind of get an idea in my head with the impacts of the vehicle. And I work my way backwards as far as I can to where the vehicle comes into the looking for marks. So as it comes into the crash, there's marks that vehicles leave, my tires, sometimes even car parts that will leave marks on the roadway that we can see.
And what is the significance of working backwards in regards to your process?
I work backwards and go back over and over. So I'm looking, just kind of get an idea of, because sometimes, you know, when a vehicle brakes hard, it's gonna leave that black mark, that tire mark that you normally see, the skid mark. But there are marks beyond that. When a vehicle starts to brake, it causes friction with the roadway, and those are called, you really can't see them. What it does is removes oil, stuff like that from the roadway, called an impending skid. So it starts to make a mark prior to that. So you may see this black tire mark 30, 40 feet, but you have before that an impending skid that's another 30, 40 feet. And that's the overall distance of time that the vehicle started to break.
Okay. Let me ask you next. Well, let's go through a few photos real quick. So these already been emitted. Thank you, Vaughn. So it should be popping up on your screen right there. Can you see it?
This one,
Okay. So let's look at state exhibit number 4. There appears to be, are there any markings on this photo?
I see orange markings, yes.
Okay, who created those markings?
We created that, that won't be a partner. So like I said, we work in teams. So one is a handling investigator usually doesn't do the painting because they're looking for all the evidence. Even though we all know as a team what we're looking for, usually have a partner and they'll also confer with you. Hey, do you see that? Yes, I see it. I see it's a mark starting here. I see a little more, so they'll back it up, stuff like that. So usually, and I believe, like I said, my partner created the markings, so he'll mark them. And also, if there's 2 or 3 tires, I'd say there's 2 or 3 vehicles. Sometimes I might have to put a paint in my hand and start marking as well because it's just too much.
Okay.
So I believe in this one, like I said, he marked that and started making the evidence. No, this isn't evidence. This is just highlighted there.
Okay. What do these markings mean? Or can you tell from this picture?
From I can see, I have it marked as TM1, is TM2, which is called that, and for us, we abbreviate, so it's tire mark 1, tire mark 2. If we have multiple vehicles, they will say a U2, like unit 1, unit 2, tire mark 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So this one right here, I see tire mark 1, tire mark 2. In the middle, I see an AOI, which AOI is consistent with the area of impact. That's the area where you can see the most evidence, vehicles making tire gouges, impact, tires movements like that is where we believe and have trained to learn to find that spot.
Okay. Let's move on to state exhibit number 5. Can you tell me what this is?
What we do here, you see small, like little moons. Those are the marking the four corners of the car. Sometimes you won't have a four corner, you have 3. It's gone. So we'll mark whatever significant four corners that we see of the car. So when the vehicle moves or is towed by the wrecker, we can still see that a day or 2 later. In that we have to go back and look at it. So the marks are still there, even though the car is not there anymore. That can kind of give us an idea. Is this paint here? It's not forever, but it'll last sometimes up to a week if it's not raining or heavy traffic through there. So we can go back and look at it. So say we missed a little something or like want a little extra to look at, we'll go back to the scene.
Okay, so these markings are kind of like preserving the scene in case anything changes, the vehicles are towed away, the road is cleared for traffic, things like that.
Correct. Like I said, it's just holding it there in case there's something you might have missed from the scene. Being it's dark, we're also trying to get the roadway open for traffic. We can go back another time, safely shut it down when it's less traffic or better light. We can do like that to we'll see that, get some more measurements if we need to.
Okay, and this would be basically where this vehicle came to rest.
Correct. If we mark the vehicle, that's where it came to rest. So if we don't mark it, then the vehicle, as we call it, a controlled stop, means the vehicle continued on for whatever reason. And we don't count that because that's not a calculation that we can use in our math. So usually when you have a vehicle move, you lose that ability to take the 2 vehicles, show their force or momentum, and then you lose your mathematics.
So were you able, during your investigation, were you able to determine the drivers of Unit 1 and Unit 2?
I contacted, well, first off, the officers on scene who told me that who they have as driver and a driver of each vehicle. At the same time too, any drivers that it is there I can talk to, I will go talk to them. And I did talk to the driver of this vehicle. The other driver was already gone prior to my arrival.
Oh, okay. And which vehicle is this, if you remember?
This one's the Mazda. Yeah, the Mazda, that's a gray Mazda.
Okay, and that was, who was driving Unit 1?
We have Simon Garcia.
Okay, let's move on to exhibit number 3. I think this is a close-up of what you just described. Is this the same thing, like area of impact?
That is correct, and that's the reason why I write area of impact, because it may not happen right exactly there. That's why we don't put point of impact, because you cannot specifically say that happened right there, but it is in that area, or right area. So that area says right there, but it could be 5-10 feet width. Because also cars are 6 to 20 feet, depending on the size of the car, with the length.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to state exhibit number 9. Are there any markings that are photographed here?
Yes, this is a green marking. The reason the green is we separate the vehicle with colors. So we'll have one color the first one being an orange. That's what we call Unit 1. Second one in a different color, whether it be pink, green, purple, orange. We have multiple colors. So just to be able to, so say we have, like say 4 cars in the thing, we have 4 colors out there. Just separate them. When I have a vehicle, in this one I can see vehicles crossed over, the lines cross each other as if the vehicle is spinning.
Okay, and I think let's go to state exhibit number 10. I think this is a close-up of the green markings. Can you describe what those are?
Yeah, so that's where I can see a start of an entire mark. And as you can see, those marks that's what I was talking about, the impending. It's a wash away or a friction mark made by a vehicle. May not be the black tire marks you normally see, but you see that white mark there, that is what we call impending or friction. It pushes and you can see that and it highlights. And like I said, the true measurement is the tire mark itself. Paint, it just highlights it, helps for the picture for you to see.
Okay. We'll move on to, there's a few more photos I want to see here. First of all, let's talk about seat belts. When a vehicle is in a crash, how does a seatbelt usually behave on a vehicle?
I'm gonna object cause for speculation and relevance as to any vehicle. It's not relevant to this case.
All right, that'll be overruled.
May I repeat the question, Judge?
Yes.
When a vehicle is in a crash, how does a seatbelt behave?
So just as you're driving down the road, every once, everybody's kind of done it, you lean forward a little bit, kind of gives that little lock up. It's the same, kind of the same mannerism or behavior. Now with in a crash, instead of a crash, we have a device, I guess we'll get into it later. There's a device inside the car, there's a signal sent to it telling it, hey, I'm in a crash, you need to lock the seatbelt so I don't get damaged or hurt. So when a crash happens, the seatbelt will actually be locked and it cannot move any further. It cannot even be put back until it's removed completely from the car. So if, say you're hit in a crash, you get lunged forward, when it finally locks, that's as far as you're gonna go. It's your safety point. If it's on, it's gonna be pushed out. So it's, think of a seatbelt putting on, how far it moves out. When you hit, it's gonna allow a little bit of movement because that's how you don't want to put it there to crush your body. So it allows a little bit of play before it gets to airbags. And when that does, finally when the interior of the car basically tells it to stop, it'll lock. It will not change.
Okay, so let me give you a hypothetical. So let's say I'm driving along, I don't have my seatbelt in. Where would the seatbelt be in regards to me? Would it be up towards the back?
That's correct. So say you don't have your seatbelt on, before you put it on, you always reach here to put it on, right? So we call that a pillar. That's a column in your car. So it's a straight up and down. Even in a crash, it was still locked because the vehicle told the device to lock and not move. So say it locks, it'll be stiff as a board. You can't move it. You can't pull it out. You can't put it back, and it's straight up and down.
And is there any way to, so if I was involved in a crash, and I didn't have my seatbelt on, the seatbelt will be up against the pillar behind me.
That is correct. You cannot put it, you cannot, some people say, oh, I have my seatbelt on, and they try to you cannot put it on.
Okay. What about another hypothetical? Let's say I have my seatbelt on. If I was involved in a crash, would it lock up there instantly?
It will lock at whatever position you had it on. So like I said, and you're in a crash, you can't just pull it off. Somebody can't pull it behind you and put it on them, show later that you had it on. Wherever it's at in the crash, when the car tells it to lock up, it's whatever position it's in. So yeah, nobody could go accidentally or try to put it over the person. They couldn't put it on themselves afterwards. They cannot do that. Only the position when it locks, there's no way to change it.
So if I had my seatbelt in and I was involved in a collision, the seatbelt would lock in place with the amount of slack that I have taken from the pillar.
Correct. As I said, the only difference is it will allow you a little bit of movement because it will not lock completely instantly. It basically has it tells you when it's going to turn on and when it locks. So the impact goes, it's telling you, oh, something's happening. Next one, lock. So you got that little bit of movement. So yeah, you might have that 1 or 2 inches more, but they completely locked out. Like I said, it will not go back into the where it was original position.
Okay. Detective, I'm going to show you state exhibit number, a few exhibits are already admitted. This is state exhibit number 25. Can you tell me which vehicle this is from your investigation?
This is going to be the second car. I'm going to look at my notes real quick. It's a Honda. It's Honda Civic. Like I said, I've seen probably another 50s, 100 cars before after this. So, just from seeing this, I can't tell exactly what it is. I have to remember this.
Okay.
So what I see here is that a seat, it looks like a steering wheel. I have a driver's seat, an airbag deployed, and we see a seat belt that's hanging down. And like I said, we go to the scene. That's why I start with the car. I'm looking at what I can see here. I can see, okay, this driver had a seatbelt on. Why? It's because it's completely retracted, extended from the pillar. It's got movement, it's got slack. And if it was not, again, it would be completely up against that pillar. You probably wouldn't see it right here because it would be locked in there.
Okay. We move on to state exhibit 29. It's a little bit further out. Can you get a good look at that?
Yeah, sorry, there's a little glare, but. No, it's a glare on this.
Can look on that screen. That may be better.
What is this object right here?
From what I can see, yeah, I can see it. That is the seatbelt.
Okay, and is the seatbelt up against the pillar?
No, it is slacked out. It,
Okay.
it has slack or movement.
Okay, so is that synonymous with the driver of this vehicle having his seatbelt on during the collision?
That is correct.
I'm so sorry, Cindy, I thought it was.
One on the table.
Oh, it isn't. You may be louder?
Thank you. I thought it was.
Okay, my apologies. All right. Detective, did you perform any interviews of witnesses at the scene?
I believe the only person I talked to was Simon Garza, the driver of the Mazda.
Okay. Did you have a body camera on that night?
I did.
Was your
Yeah.
body camera working properly?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Was your interview with Simon Garza recorded on your body camera?
Yes.
Plug my computer screen. Detective, I want to show you what's been labeled state exhibit number 40. Can you tell what this is?
This is a DVD copy, of my body camera. Garza, me, and I initialed and dated it when I reviewed it.
Okay, so you reviewed this video in its entirety?
Yes,
You're an accurate representation of what you witnessed and saw that night?
yes,
Any signs that it's been changed, amended, DPI fakes, anything like that?
No.
Okay. As we seek to offer, the state seeks to offer state exhibit number 40 into evidence, pending any objection.
We have no objections, Judge.
All right, state's exhibit number 40 is admitted without objection.
Motion public.
Granted.
I'm sorry, it's body cam, right?
Yes, body camera.
Just making sure.
Of course.
Hello, thank you for showing attention to the police department. You driving this vehicle here? Really? Oh, okay. Okay, so real quick. And, I'll ask you to let you tell me what happened and I'll, what you, what's your first last name? Simon? Yes. S-I-M-O-N? And last name? Garza. And what's your, date of birth? I'll do think. 603, let's get a phone number for you. 986. All right, so you can tell me what happens to you. We're going this way, Oscar. Until that's my street, citizen, right, short, this way. Who's telling me? The. Okay, what do you, it doesn't matter, if anybody else says, what do you believe is problem? Was it? I'm not sure. Okay, so you're driving on this roadway, where you come from? the Amazon warehouses are clustered by like kind of raised warehouses, and nowhere. Yeah. We're headed to? I was just headed to my dealer's house, living there. For now. We're pretty good at staying right now. Okay. Is this normal way you go every day after work or? Yeah, when you get off or where did you work yesterday? I didn't work yesterday is my last day work, whatever day, when you got off work, you normally drive down this road towards where you sleep at. Yeah, I don't work there, I'm so my girlfriend does. I work at TJ Maxx warehouses. Oh. At a different time, but yeah. Your girlfriend works at Amazon, you were there up rock, or what were you doing there? I dropped it off lunch. What's that? Dropping off lunch. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I was dropping off lunch. I've done this way, it's not normal routine for us. It's the whole new schedule, we just got out of, we got her out of her parents' house and we blessed my fee over there to live in his home. So we can get enough money to get our own. So yeah, sorry, this is, not that you wrote, but a different time. Oh, okay. Do you remember what lane you were traveling? That's the closest to the yellow, right there? Or close to the traffic? Yeah. Fast lane, you go in there, you know about how fast you're going? Okay. And you were like playing the radio, checking your phone, doing like that, texting, calling, anything like that? You have your phone with you or check it, because some calls. And then I. Yeah, no, I called after, right after the accident. Yeah. After first. And like, on there again. Okay, yeah, no, he texted me like that before that. No. For the. Okay. Alright. You have any questions for me right now? Yeah, we'll head to the hospital after that, or let's say someone's on the radio or nothing. At this point, we continue to follow up, right now, just mark out the scene here. They're gonna write a crash report. Other than that, as soon as it's all they're gonna do right now, okay? You have a ride, you figure out all that good stuff? Yeah, I have, just a moment. Oh, get the notification we're gonna get. I'll get you, before you leave here, I'll get you a case number in the card, if you think of anything else, any questions, okay? I'm just gonna take Carl, put it on, we'll get the, case number.
And I'm gonna pause it right there. Detective. Detective, so who are you speaking to there?
Yeah, I was talking to the driver of the Mazda, Simon Garcia,
That's unit one?
as unit one.
Okay. Would you recognize Simon Garza if he was in the courtroom?
Yes.
Do you see him in the courtroom?
Yes, there's a monitor here, but the gentleman sitting there with a black coat and a white shirt.
Okay. Let the record reflect that the detective has identified the defendant. So let's go through what he was talking about there. When you asked him if he had the red light or the green light, what was his response?
His first response was telling me what somebody else had told him, what light it was, and I asked him, don't worry about what they say, tell me what you saw, and he said, I don't know.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge if someone else spoke to the defendant before this?
I do not have knowledge of that.
Okay, so when is the time of your interview here?
The time, it's gonna be at 0053, which is midnight, so 12:53.
Okay. Publishing the exhibit that's already been admitted, state exhibit number 39. Detective, who do we see pictured here?
That image in there, what posted to the camera is Simon Garza,
Okay, and what is the time on the body worn camera footage here?
23:59, which is 11:59.
Okay, and between body worn cameras, are they synchronized so that the time on one would be the same as the other?
That is
If they-
correct.
Okay, so would this body camera footage be taken before your interview with Simon Garza?
The time is, that time right there is before mine, is correct.
Okay, it's about 40 minutes before?
Correct.
Okay. When you were speaking with Simon Garza, did he appear intoxicated?
He did not appear intoxicated. When I'm there talking to him, I'm at the same time trying to do an evaluation the best I can. I'm trying to get close enough where I can smell, looking at eyes, seeing if there's any movement in the eyes. That's how we can do horizontal gaze nystagmus, so like to be able to see if there's any signs of impairment. So I didn't see those.
Okay. Did he appear to be under the influence of any kind of narcotics?
No, his responses were slow, but also we have been also trained that you're gonna crash. It's a traumatic event, so your responses can be slow. So we don't try to automatically jump to conclusion. That's why we look for the signs of, the slurred speech. His responses were slow, but they weren't. I didn't hear to be slurred. And eyes, I didn't see any eyes, no red bloodshot eyes, anything like that. No glazed over or bouncing the nystagmus as well.
Okay. Did he appear to have any kind of head injuries, or did he report any head injuries to you?
He did not report any head injury to me. All I saw was a bandage on his hand when I was talking to him, or his wrist. That's all I saw.
Okay. Going back to your video real quick, two things. Simon Garza said it was the same road, different time. Do you believe that indicates he was familiar with the road?
That is the reason I asked the questions, to see if somebody, it's his first time driving on the road, maybe they don't know what the speed limit is or what the conditions of the road are. Given a different time, the road's still the same. So most people. That's why I asked him. Do I believe? I can't say exactly what he believed. What I believe is that you've driven on a road at least a couple times. You're kind of familiar with it. You're driving to and from. That's why I asked the questions: where do you work, or where you come from, where you going to? It gives a familiarity of the roadway, so you kind of know what's around that.
Judge, I'm gonna
area.
object to narrative.
Sustained.
Let's move on. So, in your interview, Simon Garza say he wasn't believed or wasn't sure if he had the red light or green light.
Correct. It was when I told him to clarify, he said, I don't know.
Okay, and your interview with him was about 40 minutes after this interview.
Judge, I'm gonna object. This has been asked and answered.
That'll be overruled.
Just to repeat, this interview happened about 40 minutes before your interview.
That is correct. Yeah, like I said, this time is about 40 minutes. And again, the officer's camera will roll the entire time. Per our standard operating procedure, we only turn ours on when we're going to interview. So that's why the short little segment of mine is only that much. Theirs will be.
Okay, do me a favor, listen to this body camera and tell me what you hear in regards to Simon Garza's statements.
Judge, I'm sorry. I'm gonna object. This is repetitive. This is already in evidence.
I'm sorry, could you stop that? What's your objection?
Objection to repetitive, cumulative. We've already heard this body camera. The jury can make their own observations.
Right, that'll be overruled.
Thank you, Judge. May I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Here, go ahead and listen, Detective.
Taco? I mean, yes. Yeah, this one.
Never mind.
Where you gonna drive in that car over there? You driving this car? Yeah, you driving something? So what happened? I was driving, were you coming southbound? I mean, yes. What's I thought? So what happened was your license? You see, we made inside. Where was this photo? This one. Which way was it's that way. Okay. So okay.
Detective, let me ask you, and what you just saw, was there any lack of belief on Simon Garza's part as to whether he had the red or green light?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Comparing your body camera to the admitted evidence that you saw right here, is there a difference between these two statements made by Simon Garza?
So the difference is the officer asked him if he had a red light. He said, yeah, I had a red light.
But when he spoke to you, he said something different.
That's correct.
What did he say?
Then I don't know.
So in the 40 minutes between this interview and your interview, are those two inconsistent statements?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
I'll move on. Detective, did you apply for a search warrant for what's called the ACM module?
I did, yes.
Okay, can you describe to the jury what an ACM module is, what it records, and how you access it?
As we I spoke to you earlier, I didn't really say what it was, but the device inside of the vehicle that will record and activate with the crash is called an airbag control modules. We call it ACM. When an impact happens, whether it be significant, it has to be significant enough. So say you run over a curb, it's going to tell you, hey, something happened. May not deploy an airbag, but it's going to tell you something happened, or you just basically sideswipe something soft, easy. So it'll record that. When a major crash happens, it's going to tell, hey, it happened. Now I need to do something to help this driver. I'm going to tell it, first off, I need to tell the seatbelts to be ready to lock up, as I told you earlier. It's going to tell it first. It's called a pre-tensioner notification. The second one is going to tell it to lock. That's when the vehicle locks. It also can tell me if the person was wearing a seatbelt. It also tells me if, say, somebody's not wearing a seatbelt, say unbuckle. It may not say that person's sitting in the seat, but it's going to tell me that that seatbelt is buckled. It'll tell me things like the RPMs of the vehicle, speed of the vehicle, if the vehicle used the braking, when they applied the braking, steering input, it'll tell that as well. All these different things. Each vehicle is designed to do a little bit more or less. So depends on the manufacturer how much data they're going to give us. So on this particular one, we can see speed, seat belts, braking, stuff like that.
So did you apply for a search warrant for the ACM module for Simon Garza's vehicle?
That is correct.
Did you also apply for a search warrant for the ACM module of the Unit 2 of Jose Fernandez's vehicle?
I did not. The reason is there are vehicles that are not supported. So there's a certain amount of year that all this technology came available. Vehicles that beyond that, and there's a few that are, I think it's 2012 is when they finally said, okay, we can start doing this. But there's also a few that didn't get put into that system. So this vehicle, when we look it up in our system to be able to download the ACM, it was not available. So I could not even do it if I wanted to.
Okay. But you made every attempt to try and get information from Jose Fernandez's vehicle? Correct.
In my job, we don't go just one vehicle. We want to know what both vehicles are doing. And again, that's going to help us later on understanding, seeing the scene, to the road evidence, to everything, put it together. It makes sense to us.
Okay. Were you able to obtain the technical data from the ACM module of Unit 1, Simon Garza's vehicle?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is your knowledge of the contents of that document perfect?
I am not perfect on it.
Okay.
There's a lot of numbers.
Would it help to refresh your recollection if you had a copy of that in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. We'll show you what's been labeled as Exhibit H.
Is that a copy of the ACM report?
Yes, this is the ACM for, say what vehicle it is and by the VIN number. That's what we write down.
Okay, so this is again used to refresh your recollection. It is not in evidence, so it would be inappropriate for you to read from that directly into evidence. So if I ask you a question that you're not aware of, feel free to read it, refresh your memory, and then when you're ready to testify, just look up and we'll proceed. Okay?
All right, Detective. From your interpretation of the technical data of the ACM module, what were the behaviors of this vehicle right before the crash?
There's several, and I will have to look at.
Yeah, if you can go through like the speed, when brakes were applied, things like that.
And again,
And if
there's,
you want to refresh your memory from your investigation supplement as well.
gotcha.
This is,
All right. So basically with this,
Judge,
use,
I'm sorry to interrupt, Detective. I'm gonna object that the detective is about to read from a document that's not in evidence.
all right, you're not allowed to read from the document because it's not admitted into evidence, but you can refresh your recollection.
right, so we close it to. So. Not sure if I can spit all the numbers out exactly. I can get the basics for you. So basically with the airbag control module data showing without reading it from directly, seatbelt for this vehicle, the Mazda was buckled for the driver. Showed me that the brakes were applied. Go back and look at approximately 1 second prior to the crash, the brakes were applied. That shows basically somebody just all it makes is all it needs is a contact. It doesn't mean you're slamming on the brakes unless it tells me that the ABS was activated. Again, some cars don't have that to show me that the ABS activated. That's why I rely on the evidence from the road. I believe this one showed me one more time. Take a quick look to see if it is in there. Yeah, so it'll tell me the speed as well. So when it does, when this thing with the airbag control module goes off, it records 5 seconds prior to the crash. And what that shows me, it goes backwards. And at 5 seconds prior to the crash, the vehicle was moving at 60 miles per hour. It shows me when at the point of impact, I think it was going down to 42 miles per hour. Double check that exact number. If I'm a reporter. Yeah, so 42 miles per hour. So like I said, it'll tell me and it'll go to 0 points. So 0 doesn't mean that's when the crash happened. That just means that tells this data tells me that's when the airbag tells it to do its work. So at that time, the vehicle was moving at 42 miles per hour.
Okay. And are you familiar with what is the speed limit for military at the intersection of Five Ponds there?
The speed limit there is 45 miles per hour.
But from your interpretation of the ACM module, the Unit 1, the Mazda, Simon Garza's vehicle, was going 60 miles an hour?
Correct. Again, I said that it only goes 5 seconds back, so that recorded at 60 miles per hour, 5 seconds prior to the impact. Or prior to the airbag deployment.
Okay. So does this module show from Simon Garza's vehicle show that he was driving in excess of 15 miles an hour with the speed limit?
That is correct.
Okay. And when he applied the brake, how slow did his vehicle come, or how much did his vehicle slow down to?
The vehicle drops off speed to now 18 miles per hour.
Okay, so the speed of the vehicle at the point of impact, or the area of impact, would have been around 42 miles an hour?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me ask you, in looking at your report, the speed limit is 45 miles an hour.
Yes,
And if he applied the brakes with that math, he would have been driving at about 25 miles an hour?
correct. If you subtract the 45, take that same 18 miles an hour off, you're going to be at 23 miles per hour.
Okay. Is 25 miles per hour a survivable crash?
Yes,
No, object to speculation.
I'll rephrase the question, Jim.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
Thank you. In your opinion, would a crash at the speed of 25 miles an hour be a survivable crash?
I'm gonna object to speculation.
Sustained.
Did you obtain any video of the collision?
yes, I did.
Okay. I'll show you what's already been admitted to exhibit number 2. Detective, can you tell me if this is the video of the collision that you received?
That is correct.
How's this look quick? So we go to tools, effects, video effects, geometry, interactive. Okay. Detective, watch this with me and tell me what you observed.
The whole time through. Already,
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
So I can see one vehicle stop up here. This is what's 5 palms. It's you can see it behind the sign there.
Okay.
The vehicle stop there.
This is unit 2?
Correct. So that road where it's parked is I'm let to go back and see it because there are 2 cars that go through there. There's one and then the second one. So it depends on what part of the video you're in.
Okay, okay, let me rewind a little bit. We'll start from the beginning.
So I know there's a car here. I can see right behind the sign. Then we call that 5 palms. The main road you see to your right, that's military drive there.
Okay.
And then like I said, the light cycle, and you can't see specifically the light. It's kind of hard to see for the light for 5 palms as it changes. Because it's
And you're describing
there
this
with
light right here?
right where the cursor is. That's where the light for 5 palms would be. However, you can see the light for military. You see that there. Now when the light's green here, as if many of you have been at a traffic stop, this was green.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Detective. I'm gonna just object to narrative. There's no question been asked.
Sustained.
Okay. Let's, we're seeing another vehicle come up to the intersection. Is this unit 2?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay, let's keep watching.
Can I have parties approach?
Okay.
All right, Detective, I'm gonna have you back here tomorrow at 1:30. That's when we will start. All right,
We think it's just an hour though?
that's what they're saying.
I can't promise you
So, but,
Yeah, already set up for things to do after
Okay.
that, so.
well, the rule has been invoked, so you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone while this case is pending, okay? All right, but I will tell you this, if all the jurors are here, which I think they will be, we will start exactly at 1:30. All right, thank you.
And Judge, we do have a witness issue we could discuss with you. If now's
What is the
appropriate.
witness issue?
I know we discussed that defense intends to call the medical examiner.
Mhm.
He is not available on Friday. He is only available tomorrow. And
Oh,
so
then we'll be late tomorrow, so have them here tomorrow.
I will, Judge. Yes, absolutely. I just want to make sure we get to him, even if we have to call him out of order. And
Okay.
I didn't know if the state wanted to put their objections on the record. We never did that.
All right, what with the medical examiner?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll have objections to the medical examiner.
Well, remember, we talked about it. They were objecting to it. Me calling him and you said it was coming in.
No, I don't think that
evidence is
occurred.
Now, oh, it has to do with, they're not designating the medical examiner as an expert.
Oh, okay.
So if the state is still are you still gonna go forward with that objection or no?